So something I've been thinking about recently is questioning whether or not you can actually learn to accept the feelings of anxiety. Now, for me personally, I've been suffering from anxiety from various degrees for the last 11 years or thereabouts. So my automatic response to that question is no. But can I actually train myself to live with the feelings of anxiety? I think the first thing that needs to be addressed here is the adrenaline response, the chemical changes that happen in the body when confronted with anxiety-provoking situations. The chemical changes are the reason that we all experience the physical symptoms. It's the cause of the rapid beating heart, the hot flushes, the wobbly legs, and all the other many symptoms that come along. Now, I'm no scientist, as you might have guessed, so I don't really know whether or not this adrenaline response is the same for everyone. But what it's made me think of is whether or not the body releases less adrenaline during anxiety, or whether we can get used to the feelings that it produces over time. I think of it like if we were to jump out of an airplane and parachute, surely everybody must feel a huge adrenaline burst when they jump. Surely these adrenaline junkies do these things and kind of get used to the feeling after a while, which I'd imagine is why they try to take things a step further each time. You know, like bungee jump over the biggest canyons, or from bigger buildings, or tightrope walk across rivers filled with man-eating crocodiles. There must have been a point in their lives where they first tried balancing, across a stream and felt anxious. They would have felt that adrenaline, and once they'd mastered the stream, they made their way to crossing over ridiculous heights from building to building. I wonder what kind of chemicals go racing through their bodies once they're making their way across the tightrope. How do they keep it together? Why don't their legs go all wobbly? And why don't they have hot flushes and feel a crazy paced heart rate? And you know what? I've come to the conclusion that they do. They just don't react the same way as you and I. Let's face it. Adrenaline and these other chemicals that are released into our bodies, they all do the same thing to everybody. It's the body's natural preparation state to engage the fight or flight. It's completely normal. You see, what's not normal is the way that we interpret these chemicals and the physical changes they make to our bodies. Sure, everyone would freak out if a car was hurtling towards them at 90 miles an hour. And pretty much all of us would jump out of the way if we had enough time to react. And sure, we'd all feel shaken up by it, anxiety sufferers or not. And all of this is normal bodily and sensory reactions to a threat. But I know personally that while someone who didn't have anxiety before the incident would most likely, shake it off after the initial shock, I myself would now be reeling from the adrenaline racing around my body. I'd be more worried about the fact that my legs now feel weak and my heart feels like it's bursting out of my chest than the fact that I was just nearly flattened by a speeding vehicle. So it brings me back to the original question: can we learn to live with the feelings of anxiety? I'm still yet to find any kind of acceptance towards these chemical responses. They still freak the hell out of me every time it happens. Unless I'm in a confident frame of mind before it happens. Unless I'm actually thinking to myself that this is just a feeling and I'm not going to allow myself to be bluffed by a feeling. We've already established that this is a natural bodily response. So the next thing I need to question is whether or not the anxious thoughts come before the anxious feelings. And now knowing that these physical changes only really occur once the adrenaline acts, I know that the thoughts come before the feeling, even if they're subconscious thoughts. It might not be the case that I'm actually thinking about what's causing me to feel anxious, but somewhere along the line I'm having a thought and it's causing my body to respond. Now, can I change these thoughts, even though I don't even always recognize they're happening? I guess not. And can I change the way my body responds to these thoughts? Again, I don't think I can right now. So what can I change? I can change the way I interpret these physical feelings, these bodily changes. Surely, if I spend enough time and put enough effort into putting myself in these situations which are causing me to feel anxiety and causing my body to release these chemicals, I too can walk the tightrope. See, I've come to the conclusion that I'm scared of these bodily changes. It's those that keep me from doing things, and it's those that scare me most when I'm in a situation. So just as a quick reminder, here's a few things that these chemicals and adrenaline is known to do to the body. Things like shortness of breath, palpitations and a fast heart rate, discomfort or pains in the chest, feeling smothered or choking sensations, feeling faint, unsteady or dizzy, numbness or tingling in the extremities, hot and cold flushes, sweating, trembling or shaking, nausea, that knot in the stomach or diarrhea. And in turn, those feelings can create more anxiety, which can lead to feelings of unreality, fear of dying, fear of losing your mind or going crazy, a fear of losing control and doing something bizarre, an overwhelming feeling of terror or ominous sense that something bad is about to happen. And that's not all the things that it can do. I could spend hours going through blog posts and forum posts, finding other physical symptoms of anxiety and panic. What I need to realise is that these are normal and they won't hurt me. There's only so much these chemicals can do to my body, and they will soon wear off if I stand my ground and continue to move forward. So what am I scared of? I'm scared of these physical symptoms, essentially. Yes, I'm scared of busy places, of sitting at a crowded dinner table, or walking around shopping centres and travelling too far from home. But what is it that I'm scared of happening in these places? It's a fear of these physical symptoms every time. Should I be worrying about what other people think and who's looking at me while I'm out? Should I be worried that I'm just going to collapse in a heap for no reason? Should I even give these things a second thought? No, but I do. And I'm hopeful that in time these things will enter my mind less and less once I've managed to lose my fear of the bodily changes. I can't change the way that I think, but I can change the way that I react. I can get myself conditioned to accepting that I'm an adrenaline junkie, and every time I step out the door, I'm riding that tightrope, and soon enough, I'll be walking across that river and the crocodiles won't even get a second thought.